I'd like to welcome everyone out today for this press event. Dan Chesnut, our Prison Operations Director, will be delivering a prepared statement, and then we'll take questions afterward. If you'll just please note that any questions you're submitting, please submit them through the chat feature. The Q&A feature doesn't appear to be working, so we want to make sure we get your questions. Thanks.
Thank you for taking the time to meet today and taking interest in these important issues. As of today, we house 5,938 incarcerated persons between the Utah State Correctional Facility in Salt Lake, the Central Utah Correctional Facility in Gunnison, and contracted jails. There are 2,613 incarcerated individuals at the Utah State Correctional Facility in Salt Lake City. I want to begin by outlining the 3 assaults against our staff that have occurred since January 21st, 2023. On January 21st, a correctional officer working in the current facility was assaulted working a section housing incarcerated individuals with mental illness. On January 30th, an officer working in the Antelope facility, which houses individuals with the most serious behavior issues, was assaulted while preparing the section for dinner. On February 4th, 2023, a sergeant working in a housing unit in the Antelope facility was preparing the unit for dinner and was assaulted by an individual who refused to return to his cell. Let me be clear, staff assaults are not acceptable, ever. Each of these assaults rests directly with the individual who carried them out. As we reviewed these incidents, it's been apparent that these individuals were determined and sought opportunities to carry out these acts. The individuals involved will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. As with any significant event within our facility, our response is immediate. We have a trained critical incident response team that operates 24/7. We have medical personnel on property at all times who are trained to respond to these types of situations. We have a law enforcement bureau which launches an investigation for each of these incidents to consider screening charges. And finally, our operations team who have responsibility for daily operations. The well-being of our staff is of utmost importance. We offer several support services, including peer support, a staff chaplain, and free counseling services. When these events happen, there is a significant emotional response as officers assist each other. And with courage and strength, continue to perform their duties with professionalism. We take pride in the profession, and we recognize the trust placed in us by society to discharge these responsibilities with fidelity. That is why we have one of the longest correctional academies in the country, lasting 15 weeks. In regards to our operations, correctional environments do carry inherent risks. Because of this, we cannot compromise our security efforts. Therefore, it's difficult to go into too much detail concerning our incidents or safety measures. Some of the steps we've taken recently are to review communication systems, restructure movement in certain areas, reinforce training in structured housing, and thoroughly review our security measures. I'd like to close by thanking the governor for his support of our staff. I'd like to thank personally our staff for their dedication in doing this essential work. And now I'd like to open it up for some questions. And we'd like to just remind you to submit those through Q&A and not the chat.
Okay, so first question is from Pat Reedy with KSL. How much of what happened is due to staffing versus design of the new prison?
So one of our top concerns is always staffing. We are actively recruiting new staff on a consistent basis, looking for ways to enhance our staffing patterns. The design of each facility is designed to meet the management needs of the persons that are housed there. So there's always a balance being struck between staffing and how the buildings are designed. And we always seek to try to enhance the physical layout of the building along with staffing patterns. So these are things that we're consistently reviewing.
This one's from Nate Carlisle with Fox 13. To what extent can the assaults be attributed to low staffing, and to what extent can they be attributed to the direct supervision model?
So at least in the preliminary part of the investigations, it doesn't appear that they're related to direct supervision. Again, as I stated, staffing continues to be a number one priority for the agency. We're actively recruiting, and in fact, lately have seen an increase in staff and individuals who are applying to become correctional officers, and so we're excited about that. And so, again, staffing continues to be a major priority for our agency.
This is from Amy Kobabe. How are the officers recovering? Is there any update on their conditions?
All three officers in these instances are recovering well, recovering from their injuries well. So yeah, it appears positive. They have great support from staff. They have great support from peer support. I know their fellow officers have been reaching out, as well as leadership, to check on their condition, and it appears right now that they're recovering well.
From Lauren Steinbrecher, when you say opportunities that the inmates sought, how did understaffing allow these opportunities to arise?
When an inmate or an offender is motivated, they can look for those opportunities in many ways, and without compromising security and the ongoing investigation, I'll probably kind of leave it at that, just to know when you have a motivated individual who is seeking that, they can often find ways, but I don't want to go into any much more depth than that.
From Nate Carlisle with Fox 13, at what point will UDC recommend or request state troopers or National Guard soldiers augment prison staff, as has occurred in a few other states?
At this point, all options are always being reviewed. We would certainly look at every option. At this point, we're not ready to make that kind of request, but certainly any kind of option, when it was needed, those requests would be forwarded through the right channels to be able to have that happen.
Okay, we'll just give it one more second. How many staff members would the prison need to hire right now to be fully staffed?
In order to be fully staffed, I think we're over 300 in order to get it fully staffed.
How many are currently working at the prison?
We have close to 300 correctional officers. That doesn't include augmented staffing patterns that are being filled by overtime.
And this will be our final question. What percentage of corrections officers applicants actually wind up working in the prisons?
Yeah. Well, we could look into that and get back to you. Thank you for coming and taking the time to meet with us today. My name is Dan Chesnut, DANCHESNUT. Thank you.